Today, I'm going to show you how I went about creating, testing, and executing a strat that I used to win VALORANT Premier. I'll use the specific example of our strat, but keep the process general so you can apply it to create your own strats. The first thing you should figure out is the general idea of what site you want to hit and with what players. For example, I wanted to do a fast B split with 4 mid and a late B main player. But this was pretty much random. You could choose a 3-2 split or all 5 mid. Either way, we'll revisit this later in the testing phase. Once you have a general idea of where players will be going, the first layer of an execute is deciding which util to use. I'll break this down into 3 categories. Firstly, where do you want to smoke? For us, this was pretty straightforward. We're running up mid, so let's smoke deep mid to allow us to cross into market. Then once we're in market, we should have a spawn smoke so we can cross onto site. Next, what info can we gather with our util? Looking at the angles, with this strat, I thought that the 2 hardest spots to clear would be this initial swing in mid, because we could just swing and get one-tapped by a cat player, and then clearing a crossfire from defenders who could be pizza and market. So we would need some info so that we aren't just swinging into those setups completely blind. To clear the cat angle, I decided to use this KJ turret, which would watch cat, deep mid, and best of all, it would even hold our flank as we run up mid if a player tries to drop down cat. Next, to clear market and pizza, I found this KO lineup, which scans both market and pizza. Lastly, there's the damaging abilities that you can use to force players out of corners. With our team comp, that would be the KO and KJ mollies. Going back to our info abilities and this KO lineup, a big downside of it that I first saw is that if it scanned players, we wouldn't know if they were pizza or market. We would just know that they could be in pizza or market. So we created a protocol that if the KO lineup scanned anyone at all, I would molly pizza as we run up mid, so we would only need to peek market, and the pizza player would be forced to peek us earlier. Now that we have all of our util decided in theory, the next and probably most important step is testing the strat. The first thing to test out is the timing of the utility. To do so, we just got all 5 players in a custom game and ran through the strat with no enemies. This took us 4 to 5 attempts to get down. For us, this was mostly ensuring that the KO lineup and deep mid smoke would land before we were swinging bottom mid, so that we would have that cover and the info. And secondly, that the omen flash would be well timed with when we're about to peek out of market. The one issue we noticed here was that the KJ turret takes a second to place as it's a little bit finicky, and then another second to fortify to where it actually protects us from a cat swing. After realizing this, we decided to change our strat and the timing of it a little bit so that instead of just instantly swinging mid to where we could be spotted by a cat player, we would have the KJ place the turret, wait for it to fortify, and on her call, we would swing mid and start the strat.
Go.
At this stage, it's also important to make the protocol of who clears which angles. We decided that the point player, our jet, would hard clear close left mid, and then just hold for the market swing as we run up. While the second player hard clears close right, and holds for the pizza swing off of the KO molly. Meanwhile, the third player is looking in the middle at the smoke, and is ready to help with either fight, and in the back, the KJ, who is last after placing her turret, is watching for the cat flank, but this also doubles as an anti-flash player as she's looking away from mid. This means that she won't get flashed with the rest of us if they decide to do a pop flash through the smoke or from market, and the KJ can turn around and trade us if they're pushing. After getting the timings down to where we could run the strat without needing to stop and think about where to look or what each player needed to do, the next step was to test it against real players. So we got 2 enemies in our custom and basically instructed them to just try to hold B every round, and we continued to dry run our strat. And it generally went well. We would easily trade 2 for 1 on most rounds and take B site. However, That's when they tried just walk pushing B main and caught out our Omen player, who was holding our flash for lane and stairs. We tested that timing a few more times and realized that we had to adjust the strat to where our Omen throws both smokes from back here and then jiggle peeks B main to get in position for the flash. By then, we would be out market to help clear the close B main angles. With this adjustment, in the worst case, we would at least have both of our smokes and possibly our flash if our Omen were to get pushed, and most likely we would be able to pinch the 2B main players and still come out on top. And the last step is to test the strat in real 5v5 scrims. And at this point, you could still find out that the strat is flawed, has some weaknesses, kind of like what we discovered in the previous step, and if that's the case, you would need to go back and rethink either the concept or some of your util to counter the new weakness. But for us, the strat just worked. We won the attack side pistol in 3 straight scrims. And now, let's see how the strat played out in our official Premier Mode games.
Going out right now.
Go.
I'm smoking off CT, like right now.
Scans one.
Right here, you can see that I actually threw the Kale Molly a little bit late, meaning we were already too close up mid for me to throw that reactionary Molly pizza.
Flashing right
Pizza
now.
clear.
Close line.
Nice.
Dead.
Nice.
Stairs.
Nice.
So you can see I hard clear pizza instead, and we're able to 4-man peek the guy in market, trading him out, and after that we get a free pick on the stairs player who's flashed by the Omen.
Darting side.
Come side, you have bomb, Sovik here.
I'm stairs with you. I'm stairs with you.
Someone
Close
clear.
door.
Clear boat. 3, 2, 1. And at this point, you can see we get the spike down with a 4-on-3 and are able to successfully hold the retake.
Okay, now. Playing care.
Close, nice.
Nice.
Cat.
Hey, one's cat.
Just
one's
keep
cat.
going, ignore him,
Right,
ignore him,
right,
ignore
we
him.
just go.
Moving on to the second Premier game, you can see we get a different look. We get peeked from both mid and cat. But our turret works as expected, deterring the cat player, allowing us to isolate the mid player in a 4v1, getting a free pick, and that just snowballs onto us getting sight 5v3 for the retake. And if you'd like to see the full matches with comms, I'll leave a link to that in the description. Thanks for watching.